Bill, and to all of you, John Smith, to all of you. It's wonderful to be together again. You know, I think the last time we met, we were in a different location.
Right.
It wasn't smaller room. It wasn't in the castle. It wasn't in the castle. We were in power then. Because we're in the Capitol, I just want to tell you this story because it's dear to my heart, and I hope that you understand how I think of it every single day. We're going to open a new visitor center here soon. I don't know when. The construction just seems to be ending, but soon. And when we do, Jesse Jackson Jr. had a resolution and others worked on it to call the main hall of the new visitor center Emancipation Hall. Whether it's for a lot of reasons, but also because of the work that slaves did in constructing the Capitol. But I tell my colleagues this, I know sometimes they're tired of hearing it. When President Lincoln was sworn in for his second inaugural, he made a speech that some consider to be Lincoln's greatest speech. Malice toward none, charity toward all. It was a beautiful speech. It was not a long speech. It was the first time that blacks were in the Capitol to attend an inauguration of a president as free people. And one or the other along the way may have been here, but here it all showed up. Now, for days before it was raining cats and dogs in Washington, D.C., and the streets were full of mud. Well, they never were paved, but they were full of mud and stuff. So the white folk who came to the inauguration wore their foul leather gear, their old clothes and all. Black people who came wore their Sunday best. Sunday fine. That's what we do. And that's the way it always is. That's the tradition, and it is the legacy. And they came to the hall, and it was moved inside because it was raining. So they came inside and they saw the president inaugurated, and they stood out. And people who've written about that inauguration talk about the beautiful sight of the newly freed people who were there in their Sunday finery. And every time I walk through that rotunda or through the statuary hall, I think I hear them. I think I hear them. I think I hear them saying what they said. Eddie Bernice Johnson and Matt Maxine Waters and Barbara Lee and Donna Christensen and Diane Watson and Mara Richardson and now Andre Carson and Chairman Carolyn Cheese Kilpatrick and Sheila Jackson Lee and all of our, I don't know if any other members are here, but certainly of the chairmanships that we have three, Charlie Rangel and John Conyers and Betty Thompson, and just the service of so many people here, so many subcommittee chairs. Maxine's like number 2 on banking and chairman of the very important housing committee. And I think how proud, I know that their spirit is still in the halls, and how proud they would be of all that has happened since then. But we certainly want more. I know that you're honoring John Conyers, getting the Achievement Award. How wonderful. For us to serve with him is an honor in many respects, as he protects the Constitution of the United States, but also because he was the only politician ever to be endorsed by Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., and what that means to all of us to have that connection. The 40 years, April 4th, 40 years since we lost Dr. King, and we certainly there will be appropriate observances of that. But you're all too young, but many of you remember that day. And what a horrible thing it was for our country. But let's dwell on what greatness came from that great man. An inspiration to all of us. You know, we're all fond of quoting presidents and this or that. I think more people quote Reverend Martin Luther King as an inspiration than any other person. Isn't it a thrill for us that a day set aside? There are no days set aside here, except for presidents. There was a day set aside to honor the leadership of Reverend Martin Luther King. We carry on a tradition that's very American in terms of freedom of the press, which is essential to our democracy. I thank all of you for holding our feet to the fire, for speaking truth to power, what you do, again, to make America more American because of your work. So once again, it's my pleasure to come here and see Goldfield and John and Dorothy, and to join with my colleagues in welcoming you to the Capitol in full appreciation for what you do. And as I said, that gratitude and recognition, I'm happy to do it this year for the first time as Speaker of the House.
Election needs between now and May 6th.
Promise to get that back to NNPA.
Yes.
Here.
We need this one for his re-election. And I'm saying re-election after you heard that.
That's right. Talk to me.
GQ to the back. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Give the Speaker a hand, too. The members who have come, and they're going to be ringing the bell, they tell us they'll be voting on our CBC budget in the next 5 to 10 minutes, so members will have to leave. But are there any other publishers or otherwise who would like to make a comment or question?
Look at that.
Would you say who you are, sir? Please stand. All right, say that. What's that now? Say that now to Yes, as a matter of fact, we do. And one of our chairs of our Immigration Policy Task Force is in the room. And let me yield to Congresswoman Sheila Jackson. They actually have it in writing, and we'll get it out to you as well. Yes, yes. Congresswoman, could you repeat your question? And Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee, Congresswoman from Houston, Texas, chairs our CBC Immigration Task Force.
What is the CBC immigration policy that you're putting out there?
Well, the main policy is that we're listening to you, listening to our constituents, but we understand, as we've looked at the landscape of immigration policy, that there are people of African descent that are equally impacted by this question, whether they're from Haiti, whether they're from Nigeria, whether they're from Brazil. They're heavily impacted. One of the issues that we've raised in the Congressional Caucus is education.
Is John coming?
We understand that
But Amanda got a vote, but he had to chair
well,
here.
whatever numbers it is, how do we get to this issue of the impact on the African American community? We believe in comprehensive immigration reform, which talks about the border, northern and southern. And we also believe that if you give benefits, if you document those who are undocumented, there are penalties, but we also say that we want to preserve jobs. And so we connect the preservation of jobs to the documentation of individuals who may be now undocumented. We have a source of resource that would come out of the fees that would be paid to go back into underemployed areas. And we also take a stand to suggest that any immigration reform will include participation of the Congressional Black Caucus. So we are mindful of the debate that's been going on in the community. We're mindful of people's assessment, but we say back to them, when we try to fix this problem, we got to worry about Liberians and Ghanaians and Haitians and Brazilians who have to be African, who have to be of African descent.
Well, I appreciate that because most people think that it's just a Mexican or Hispanic issue.
Absolutely.
And the water is the fact that people think that we're just supposed to Hispanic and Mexican. It's sent back to us. But it is more than just
We'll get that, and I would appreciate if the publishers, the eyes and ears of the community, what the chairwoman has insisted on is that every discussion on immigration, some of us are on the immigration subcommittee, including Congressman Waters, and I don't know who else, John Conrad, he's chairman of the full committee, but he sits on the subcommittee. But you're the eyes and ears. The chairwoman has insisted at every meeting that goes on regarding immigration reform that African Americans, from their perspective, and the vast, if you will, world